Call the meeting to order for December 8th or 9, maybe 10.
11.
Okay, December 11, 2023. Don't have any guests tonight. I'd like to welcome our new administrator. We're happy to have you here. That's your first meeting with us.
Yes, thank you.
Great.
It's great to be here.
Roll call, please.
Zagami,
Here.
Hardinger, Hubbard,
Here.
Lopes Torero,
Here.
Hooper.
Here.
Are you gonna let us know when Jasper get online, right?
Yeah, when he signs in, I'll let you know.
All right, we don't have anybody, public comment. Go to item 5, approval of 11/13/23 public work and utility committee minutes. What's your wishes?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
No second.
Discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. The staff report, item 6. CIP update, Michael?
So Weston Avenue on the east side of Ryan is done. Driven on it. I don't know. Kind of reminds me of the scene from Cars when Lightning McQueen paves the new road. So
If the seating is done, everything is done?
yeah, there'll be some restoration likely in spring where the grass isn't fully grown back through, but for the most part, they were seeding as they went.
How much you holding back?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's at least 5% of total construction.
I would say 10 maybe?
We can't.
Read the spec, see what he said.
Yeah.
The contract, let's see what he
Yeah,
said.
we used to be 10%. State law changed a few years ago, so
50% of the contract, yeah.
so we're working on design still on the west end and right-of-way work. Currently going over the 90% plans and trying to get a meeting scheduled with AECom. Oh, here comes someone. Jasper, is that you?
Yes, sir, it's me.
All right.
That's it.
Who's gonna put all the iron back in the ground?
The property irons?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be the contractor, their surveyor responsible for that.
Okay, as long as it's done.
Let's see, other fun items of note, have a few meetings scheduled here with Clark Dietz over the next 2 weeks to go over the 2 Jelnik projects. Looking at getting the repaving between the junior high and senior high bid out probably in early January, and then the other East Jelnik Von Kennel bid out later, probably in late February, early March. Let's see, Becker Hoppy is looking at getting a meeting with the DOT together for the Ross Ave joint project with Schofield, so we can start making sure we're following the DOT design timeline appropriately and getting that project ready for the 2027 construction. For Fuller Street, got the item 9 in the packet. Becker Hoppy and their consultant Taddy finished the intersection evaluation for Schofield Avenue and Fuller and Old Costa. So just kind of looking at giving them direction moving forward on what alignment they should be pursuing. And I guess the other big thing street-wise is working with the town of Weston on getting an agreement in place for the Ross Ave project, as well as getting the design RFP out for that for construction in 2026. So we'll need to get a design going here quickly in 2024 to meet those DOT deadlines as well. And then as we talked with AECom on the water side earlier today, and we'll be looking at getting the well 4 and treatment plant updates for the PFAS removal bid out just after the first of the year here as well. So we'll get started on that then. And
Does that include the iron and manganese?
it does not. The iron manganese will be after. That's part of where the DNR had us break out well 3 from the well 4. So we'll working on getting the iron manganese pilot testing done probably in January, so that then we can use that data to submit well 3s for PFAS treatment, the iron manganese removal in next year's Safe Drinking Water Loan Program. So it'll lag well 4 by a year. But all the work at the treatment plant will be done and sized for PFAS for both wells, not just well 4. Yes, have the spreadsheet of kind of where we're at construction schedule wise, who's doing what, and then I should start throwing a map in. At one point, Luis said maps were good. He's a visual person, so the red is what we're looking at getting done next year, and then orange would be 2025, green 26. So all colors of the rainbow.
And Masker and Schofield,
That'd be next year. So
how's the design coming?
see, I met with MSA 2 weeks ago now. Have a few utility conflicts that we need to work with WPS on with power poles and where those could get relocated so they're not in conflict with the traffic signals. And once we know what options we have with WPS, that should be able to be finalized.
I think we'd like to see the preliminary design here first.
Sure. Okay. I can do that next month.
And also, I think they should design the lighting, whoever doing it, the red light come out when the fire department take off from their shop. Everything should be red for them before they get to the intersection. They can do that.
Okay. Is that like a special?
Yep. They put a switch or they do something in there. The fire department can turn on the light red before they get to the intersection.
Okay.
Is it mounted on their vehicles? It's a trip on,
Yeah, it could be.
I know when I lived in Illinois, they actually had sensors on the light poles that could see the strobes and then it would turn red.
City of Wausau, some of the plow trucks, they were looking at doing that, where they'd put them right on the plow truck, so when they came up to the intersection on the main routes, on the salt routes, that they would trip the lights.
Actually, I thought City of Wausau was turning the light red at the Thomas and the Grand Avenue.
That they might, just because you go out to that intersection. We're here, if they could take a right out of there, go north out of here, there's no reason to shut the lights
No,
off.
hang on, I might have it wrong. Maybe it was so it would go green for the plow truck so they could get through or something. There was something that was going on there because the guys wanted it on the trucks. I'm sorry, I might have talked out of turn.
Well, I think the engineer can design that, the way we're talking.
Yeah, we'll have to ask
He
what.
knows if you tell him what we're looking for, he understands what to do with it.
Sure. Okay.
Thanks. Anything else?
No, just a lot of plan review right now.
Don't rush it for a football game.
Yeah,
no,
no, I'm here for the 6 o'clock meeting no matter what. But
Any question for Michael?
The guys
The East Jelinek project, did we, after the public meeting, come to determination what we're doing for sidewalks along there?
so there's still, from Kirk Street East, it's a multi-use path, Von Kennel multi-use path. I guess that's kind of the meeting I have coming up with Clark Dietz is I told him to look at 2 ways, either sidewalk from X to Kirk, or if that's not working, look at least a multi-use path on one side. So they're looking at some of the, I want to say the south side of the road, especially coming right off Camp Phillips, is higher than the north side of the road. So they're looking at what the constraints are, what the yeah, because then there's that other places on the north side that have kind of like those timbers and retaining walls.
Yeah, I know it's tight. I was just curious.
Yeah.
That was figured out, yeah.
Hopefully in about 2 weeks I'll have an answer. Before Christmas, I should have an answer.
Okay, anything else? Street operation update?
Yeah, we're winding down our summer stuff. We're pretty much caught up with most of it. Some patching needs to be done, hopefully this week when it warms up. We want to get some, it's gonna be cold patch now. The roads got graded, the final grading, even though it was getting cold. The old municipal center, we've got everything out of there that needed to come out of there, pretty much, other than the rest there is going with the building, so. Boom mowing in the right of ways, we're still gonna be, probably now that it's freezing up, we're gonna be taking the mini excavator out. There's some places in the right of way that we wanna trim with that. It's on tracks, it's starting to freeze down enough. The crew's been out trimming trees, if you've seen them around, they've got the boom truck out, stuff that's overhanging in the right of way where it's hitting our plow trucks and that's what we've been working on this last week. This week, they're gonna be working on that stuff. The leaf and brush pickup, we did make it by Friday, the 17th of November. They managed, we had to work overtime with the one truck being down, but we got everything done. On the last page of the report, I put a price tag on what it, approximately 143,000 plus to do the leaf and brush pickup for the fall season. You know, it's a whole month's worth of work.
100,000, hundreds of thousands.
143,000, and what drives the price up is we use the rates on the trucks, on the equipment, we use the Wisconsin DOT rate. Okay, so realistically, is it 143,000 coming out of our pocket? No, but if you were gonna go and rent that piece of equipment, which is what the state does from the counties, the leaf pickup trucks are expensive. They're a triaxle truck, plus that leaf vac unit is, forget what the dollar amount I can get it, but it's like 100 and something bucks an hour to run that thing. But we picked up over 6,000 cubic yards of leaves and grass or whatever, you know, that's what it was. And about 665 cubic yards of brush. That goes by truckloads, and we figure they're getting about 17 yards on a truck. So I broke it down into the labor was about a little over 26,000, a little under 26,000. Overtime, we had another 5,000 plus, which normally we wouldn't be running the overtime with the one truck that went down. The guys ran late with the ones just so we could try and get it done before we got snowed on big time. So,
You sell some of this then too, right? Don't you generate 4 or 5 grand or something like that?
yeah, Sue's is buying, what it is Kafka grinds our brush for us, okay? They've got the big semi trailers. Sue's is buying the leaves and that from this fall pickup. $1 a yard, that's what they give us last. Kafka hauls it for them, so they give us $1 a yard, plus they gotta pay Kafka to truck it up to them. So we do have at least 320-foot long rows of compost that are slowly breaking down right now that we're keeping. That was stuff that came off of from the summer where it's more grass clippings than that. I hate to say it's the better stuff, but it is the better stuff. So what we do is put it in rows and roll it. And then that we will keep, and either we will sell it once it breaks down a little bit more as compost, or if we end up needing it to mix with our screenings for topsoil to get more of the organic stuff to be between 4 and 6%, then we'll use it for that. So that's cool.
Then this is a number we do submit to the state as part of our recycling grant, so we do get money back from the state too.
How much is that?
They pay the full amount for
We
it?
don't pay the full amount, but I wanna say each year we get probably 85-90,000 back.
Well, a good chunk of it back. That's
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was a big thing to try with the truck going down and that and getting things done up to the date. It was pretty good. Road salt, we just today finished up. We put 1,000 tons in the new shed. So we have 2,000 ton that we have to take by April 30th of this year off the state contract. We've got half of it in the shed now. And there's room to put more in there too yet. We just don't like filling it right tight to the door. That way the guys have room to dump. They mix sand salt too. The sand salt shed, which is the north third of the shed approximately, is full. And the guys came up with a good idea. They went, we've got chips, 1/4 inch minus rock from the chip sealing of roads that gets swept up, the excess. We had a pretty good pile of it out there. So they took and mixed some of that with the sand to give it a little more grit. which is a good thing. We'll stretch a little further, plus it gives it a use. PGA completed the crushing of the recycled gravel, 3/4 inch. And it came up to a little over 22,000 tons approximately is what was crushed out there. That stockpile, that'll get used on some of next year's projects. Then after that, we're gonna work on trimming the right of way.
Excuse me,
And
what was the cost per ton?
for them to crush was $3.03 a ton. They were $1 plus cheaper than next bidder.
Right.
So that doesn't include, we have a little bit of money stuck into the pile when we're maintaining it, as far as when we're actually stockpiling stuff, but most of all the material that came from, some of the concrete came off of Schofield Avenue. The asphalt, Community Center Drive, when that was milled off, that got hauled out there. So it's everything that we get off of the village streets that creates the material.
You have any 1.25 out there too, or is it just all 3/4?
There's still some 3 1.25 laying on the east side.
Backing up in the parking lot.
So, that pretty much takes care of where we're sitting now. We're trying to catch up on some stuff inside too, as far as organizing more things. It's been a dead run since last January when we moved into this building. So things are finally settling down to where we're gonna be able to kind of get organized a little more. Kind of take it from there, so.
Did you crush those rocks too? The rock from?
No, he had an impact, he's got an impact crusher and we had to get a bigger hammer there to crack them, the big ones. So right now, theirs are still sitting on the pile. So we're probably gonna wait and then we'll separate those out a little bit more and go from there. Put them together with the next crushing contract, if nothing else.
You're gonna bid it out again, separate contract?
Correct, yeah.
On the line, yeah. Once we
Well, yeah,
get,
if you don't do it, you gotta do it again, gotta bid it out.
yeah, we will. It's just like 2 years ago when we crushed, we had slabs of concrete that came off of Schofield Avenue because CPR took them out in slabs instead of breaking it up like Norcon did when they had the contract. So then when we bid out the crushing, the ones that were bidding it, they included a price for a hydraulic hammer on a large excavator. So when it comes to this kind of stuff, if that's what it's gonna take, then we'll let it go with the next contract, and then you can crush it for breaker. We still have 6-inch minus concrete crushed down for breaker, that we've got a pretty good pile of that.
Okay.
Any questions?
Anything else?
No, I won't take up any more of your time. The rest is in the report, but unless you have questions for anything,
Any question?
we're enjoying the lack of snow right now.
Facility operation update?
Yeah, we were a little light on number of tasks last month, but the ones we did were quite time consuming. We had a few miscellaneous maintenance items on the water side at the treatment plant and a heater. We got through our annual screen inspections on our water towers. The 2 bullet points for flushing the system, the neighborhood and residents between junior high and high school they've been getting kicked when they were down already. We had some hydrant maintenance stuff we were doing, I think end of September, early October. So they had some water discoloration and quality issues. And then there was a fire over on Foothill that caused the system over there to be in disarray. So we flushed over there again. And then the new car wash going in over by the old Pizza Hut, they hit the water main that caused, right before Thanksgiving, a major issue for the residents over there. So our guys spent a number of days flushing the system. The junior high had experienced some pretty poor water quality. We thought we had isolated it, but it was pretty bad. So our guys spent quite a lot of time trying to get everything over there. I think the complaints had calmed down before Thanksgiving. I think we had
Call it in, or did they not call it in?
the break. We happened to be there to, I don't know what, we were marking something else. We had gone there and told them to, tread lightly with the excavators and, kind of hand dig once they get close, and next scoop, they got it. And it's an AC main that will probably be getting repaired down the line as part of the 51 redesign, so. But it caused quite a mess and a lot of time to, you know, when, I mean, we were having complaints and then I don't know if it fully drained the tower, but I mean, it threw the whole system basically almost all the way out to almost this area where I think Patriot Auto had some issues caused by it. So just a big rush of water going that way. So there's a few days where our guys were in early, up late and try not to cause more issues in other parts of the distribution system. So, you know,
Was it a little more shallow than they thought it was, or?
well, with AC, you can't really mark it. So we can basically show them kind of you know, it's probably from here to here, but depth wise, there's nothing, it's not conductive, so you couldn't really trace it. So, you know, when we say it's the as-built, when that was put in was probably some hand sketch that was, it's not great as-built to begin
This
with.
was the nearest shut off. How many gallons did we lose?
Well, it was the time it took, so I mean, we had it shut off in about 10 minutes, but in 10 minutes, we probably lost 100,000 gallons of
Was it
water.
10,
This
is that a 10-inch pipe?
At
Yeah.
least,
10.
Kind of ish, yeah,
yeah, well, at least it wasn't freezing at that point.
yeah. No, it was a sudden gush of water.
Well, I mean, who's responsible for that then, I guess?
We'll have to discuss who's responsible. I mean, I think
Who's
the
estimated?
Sunrise was running that portion of it. I don't know if they're the prime on the.
No,
project.
they're the excavating,
yeah.
Where are they out of?
Mosini. Town Mosini.
Were they tying into the water? They were just putting
Yeah, they're
put a
trying-
T in or something there?
Yeah.
They're gonna tap their service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So luckily we were in the area at the time, otherwise I mean, yeah, it was an inconvenience for right before Thanksgiving, and there's a hair salon right next door, and they were the only one affected because that was the next valve that we had to shut, so they were the only ones with a few customers had some dyes and stuff already in their hair, and so it was panic mode for one of those mornings you come in and you have a plan and then that happens and your plan changes quickly, so I think
The water in
everything was
that
just.
area, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
water in that area is bad.
Yeah.
And she brought her stuff and showed it to me. I said, why don't you take a picture, send it to Michael? And he can see that. And they take the water from which well number 5,
Yeah, I mean, that's the
Why?
closest one. So when you say she, who are you referring to?
War Bay,
What was it?
War Bay. It's at 2106, Schofield Avenue.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh, okay, that one.
Yep.
Yep. So yeah, Josh was referring to the hair salon right next door, Trendsetters.
Yeah,
They were completely out of water.
Yeah, but the reason I brought it up because they have the same problem.
but the water issues have kind of steadily increased since we have not been able to, you know, since PFAS, we have not been able to do our unidirectional flushing since 2019. Cause then 19 into 20 is when, maybe 20 into 20. We haven't done it for like two straight years now. We haven't been able to actually use our scour velocities to kind of get some of this sediment and build up out of the pipes. So that's why we're eagerly waiting for those two up the road to get put online. So we can kind of get back to the capacity we need to do our unidirectional flushing for the system, because I think this next flushing is going to take probably a little longer than usual, just because we haven't been able to do it in a couple of years. So, and once we get the system,
Couple of them off of the line, then the new one goes online.
Yeah, or at least reduce their
Yeah.
flow.
So I think when 7 and 8 come on, we'll be able to kind of, as needed, maybe use 1 and 5 since they're a little poor quality. But yeah, it's something we need to get back to and maybe even discuss, you know, twice a year if need be, because I know a lot of times this year we do it in the spring, and then once you kind of get into the late fall, winter seasons, it wouldn't be bad to maybe hit another one before it gets too cold. So,
Do we flush in the winter?
No.
not if we don't
I
have
don't
to,
think so.
no.
Well,
Yeah.
Good show.
So usually it'd be nice if we could start it early in the springtime and then maybe do a late summer, you know, early part of the fall to kind of flush the system again. So we discussed doing that. We did do some flushing. We kind of just moving water around kind of try to see where some of the complaints are coming and try to identify a good path to valve off to get some of the dead ends flushed and get some water moving. I mean, it'll help now that Weston Ave is gonna be starting to get connected up for our system to kind of loop everything through, so.
Thank you, Josh.
Is there a standard operating procedure when they have to tap that?
Yeah, I mean, we have specs of, you know, where the tap should be placed and, you know, the material type and what kind of fitting they should be using to tap it and.
I just thinking in forward, how do you avoid this happening in the future? Since you can't find
Well,
exactly
and-
where it is, and you don't know the depth, can we require them to hand trench
Well, and that's,
before our machine excavate?
so that's why we were kind of on site is because they were requesting us to help locate it, but we really can't locate it. I mean, we can tell them kind of where the alignment is, but, you know, vertically, we don't know how deep it is.
You have to probe it, hand probe it.
That's my hand trench.
Yeah, and that's why we
before
told
machine
them,
excavate.
we told them it's buried, I think, 6.5 at least.
Yeah.
You know, minimum 6.5, so when you're getting to, you know, 5, 6, probably start hand digging that. Well, they took one, from what I was told, they took one extra kind of bucket out and Teeth got it and,
I think I know where the bill should go.
yeah.
No,
I just, it's,
they,
I mean, to me, it's like they either did it right or they did it wrong.
and they do,
You know, we've got a
we
procedure.
don't make the repair, they made the repair, they,
Mhm.
you know, it was their labor, their equipment, everything to make the, you know, put the new piece of pipe in, make their
I
connection.
mean, we do give them, if they don't have, if we have something to expedite this repair, we'll give them stuff and they, you know, get us back with it, but. Yeah, it's all on their dime to do the repairs.
Did they throttle the main down at all, or they had it wide open?
And it was wide open as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, because if there's only one place you
Yeah.
gotta turn it off, I mean, had only a quarter open, at least
Yeah.
that would have. Usually they want to, because if they got somebody down there, they, you know, that's a lot of water.
And that whole area is, it's tricky. There's some valves that needed, you know, we need to replace it. You know, we have the upcoming reconstruction of the whole corridor through there and it's, do we replace these things now? It's already on the schedule. So we had something else over there. That Triggs had to be shut off or something, but anyway.
That was just doing part of the flushing, because we had to reverse.
Yeah. So that was one big water issue we had that was quite time consuming for the guys. I guess moving on, we did also conduct a fire flow for Rib Mountain Metro as part of their upcoming expansion project.
Where, Josh, just one thought real quick, I hate to interrupt you, but
Yep.
all this, the new equipment that we're getting put in at the water towers, the communication equipment that's getting routed through, we've got, I think it's
Like
Wi-Fi and.
The SCADA stuff or the fiber
Yeah.
optic stuff?
Is any of those linked to sensors that if we have like a major break like that, where it's just emptying a water tower, where it would
Yeah.
sense that and kind of shut
Our
it?
towers all have high level alarms, low level alarms.
So did we have one on that? Is it, it's not active yet because all the systems are still getting hooked up or?
No, I mean, we responded to it before the call was able to, we did get notifications that the tower was draining,
Yeah.
that it was low level, but I mean, that was already after we shut it off. I mean, we were out there already to close the valves and then we got it routed. I think it came to the SCADA called out to the answering service, which calls into our.
It's not an automated thing where it senses like the water's just
No,
dropping.
it
and
does.
shut- It
Yeah.
does?
Well, it doesn't shut the tower down.
I suppose because you only have so many valves you could shut.
I mean, and
off.
once the tower is drained, I mean, the wells are still, basically that would be calling the wells to turn on to start filling the tower back up.
It's not shutting valves or anything.
No,
No, and you'd have to be careful with that, so you don't depressurize the system.
Yeah. It'd have to be a pretty intricate system, I think, to,
yeah. That's why where that break is, you just try to isolate that
yeah,
area.
okay, thank you. No,
Yeah.
it's-
So meter pit project, we had lend some assistance for a little bit of our meter pit project. We continued with our bi-weekly EPA PFAS sampling collections. Sewer side, we had to pull a pump at our Mesker Colleen lift station for some maintenance, a couple other miscellaneous float and pump maintenance items. We did wrap up our large station cleaning last month. Got the vac truck maintenance and emptied, hopefully for the year. Onto the SCADA stuff. The SCADA portion is still kind of in the collection of materials phase, the fiber project. Should be nearing, we had a little issue over at the well 7 and 8 project. They bored through a conduit that had some wiring going out to one of our pitless units, well 8. So that was actually repaired as of Friday when A1 had hit the conduit. So Ellis or Econ, I guess, was out there. They fixed the conduits and everything should be back up, and I think they said they should be able to fill the excavation today.
Is A1 is finished?
Well, not, I mean, I think they have most everything run. It's not yet, I don't think they have the pad, we're waiting on a patch, I think, at
The well
the
itself.
well itself. It's above my head, to go from the fiber optics to the Ethernet, they have some patch that they have to put in there, so it's,
Is he gonna do all that work?
yeah.
A1 doing it?
A1 doesn't do that work. That's
That's
PJ Corton's, the
PJ Corton's.
integrator, who will be doing that.
What all new equipment on the project?
Yeah. Yeah, the conduit should all mostly be in. I'm not sure where they're at with getting the fiber all connected to each other though.
I think they were pulling fiber to this building middle of the week last week. They had it run into here, and then I think they were gonna start pulling it out that way. Utility locates had a couple hundred last month, couple large areas. Our guys marked out the utilities for the Schofield app and the Fuller designs. Stacy keeps our boys busy with a lot of work orders still, getting some of our no reads for our meter issues. I think we touched on most of the contract work stuff through Michael's. I guess the meter pits project has been completed. There's a punch list we had last week. I think it was last week. Just a little restoration we'll have to take care of in spring. I think plant a tree at one of the spots. So other than that, the meter pits are up and functional and above ground, so we don't have to go into confined space anymore. And beyond that, we have our customers added last month, our water pumped, our wastewater flows and lift station hours.
How many customers you have?
52. It seems kind of be the norm, usually about 50 or so. And after that, we did add, I guess, complete a few extra SOPs. We have a few other that should be wrapped up for the next meeting. So I think we have a whopping 5
Thanks,
so
Josh.
far. Yep. So
Question
we're
for
working on
Josh?
them. What's that?
No, any question for Josh?
Yeah.
One thing while we're on the water side of things, we are working on getting our paperwork submitted for the PFAS settlements with 3M. So, and then
Just
just,
the first round, right?
correct, yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Are you doing that or Josh? You're doing it.
He's doing most of it.
He's doing most of it?
Yeah, well, it was kind of trying to determine some of the language that they put in there
Oh, yeah.
would kind of determines if we're gonna get more dollars or fewer dollars. So we went more dollars route at this point, and they can tell us if we're wrong.
No, they're gonna come to every penny of it, so we'll see. Policy discussion and recommendation. Item 9, Fuller Street and Schofield Avenue intersection. Control evaluation, ICE result. Michael?
Yeah, so as part of the Fuller Street engineering design, the consultant was tasked with running an intersection control evaluation at Fuller and Old Costa Lane as they currently sit, kind of as the offset intersections. Diagram here quick. So right now Fuller Street's a T here, and then this one's better. So Fuller Street currently is about here, and then 600 feet or so is Old Costa Lane. So the analysis was, do we leave them offset as they currently are? Otherwise, a thought was to realign Fuller Street so that it matched up with Old Costa Lane and formed I guess a traditional four-legged intersection. I guess as they went through it, the current alignment performed satisfactory. There's really no long queues or service delays. The one suggestion was to cut back the pork chop island so that this left turn could be at a more of a 90-degree angle versus I think it's like a 74-degree currently, so it can make the vision difficult for somebody trying to make that left turn. The full realignment at Old Costa, if it were to just be a stop control like it is now, it would make turning movements from Fuller and Old Costa more difficult. If it were to become an all-way four-way stop, traffic on Schofield Ave itself would perform at a lower service level. So the only way that realignment made sense would be if we were to install a roundabout there. But I guess realistically, based on the traffic counts, it's not something they would recommend based on the cost of the roundabout and the benefit of traffic flow there. So the recommendation is to stick with the roads as they currently are, with the slight modification at Fuller Street for the better vision, and then probably revisit this in 10-15 years just to see if traffic patterns have changed drastically. I guess one thing that's hard to predict too is with putting the traffic lights in at Mesker Street next year, that will also increase I guess the block of the free flowing traffic from eastbound or traffic from the west heading east. So as far as that left turn goes, there should be more openings, I would think, in the future as traffic at Mesker is stopped. So
You hit the analysis that went through my head, which is 15 years from now, will we regret not doing this?
That was when I read that, when it said we would look at it 10-15 years, and if
Is there a reason?
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you this, what is the traffic forecast for 20 years over there?
it's all depending on what gets built and how people will access it. I guess the only thing that comes to mind is stuff that might develop off of Ross Avenue on the north end there, kind of out into the town. But as you get further out, is traffic gonna come all the way back through here, or are they gonna use Guzman and go out to J?
But the thing is, if you're at the Fuller and the soccer game is over, and you get lucky and get in that intersection, you're stuck there.
Yeah, or, that's where Mesker is, half a mile away. Do you get in the habit of going to Mesker? And
You don't know that, I mean.
you don't, yeah.
Especially if people coming from the other side of the river and they wanna go to Ryan Street,
Yeah.
they're not gonna go to Mesker, they're gonna just take a left, that's it.
Yeah, a lot of people use Fuller.
I drive in the mornings, take my daughter to school out there, and if you're behind a couple buses, you may be there. I mean, I would a lot of times get and take a right by Arrow, go down, take another left, and just go back that way, because it would take a while to get on there.
Sure.
Granted, that's certain times of the day, it's not all day long, but.
Yeah.
I think the other consideration too is, I mean, the traffic flow may be one thing, but it's not really taking into consideration how many people probably sit at that intersection either.
I mean, they looked at the delay. That's all part of the analysis is
They're saying not to put a roundabout.
the roundabout would make it so it's pretty much no delay for anybody in any direction. But again, that's probably adding $1.5 to $2 million to the project. So if we want to do that, we can, but that wasn't that cost isn't necessarily in the budget for 2024, so we'd have to look at reprioritizing some items.
Thing is, if it has to get done 10 years from now, it's gonna probably be double the cost, and that's the
Yeah,
problem,
exactly.
you know, that's, you hate to do it, and then all of a
You're
sudden,
right.
10 years later, why didn't you do it in 2024? That's the only thing I worry about. But I know
And
it's.
the next people sitting here say, what these people thought? Why didn't they do it?
Yeah.
The thing is, if we save $1 now and then we pay the price later, that's all it is.
I mean, it's a projection, and I know we went through the lights and decided we didn't need one at this point here, but that it's gonna be too. It seems like they're gonna just domino their way right down that road, aren't they, on Schofield?
Yeah, it could.
This is a tough one.
I mean, the other, you kind of mentioned people knowing there's alternatives. And I realize people visiting the area probably won't be familiar with alternatives, but just like from my perspective over in my neighborhood, I know if I go down to East Jelinek at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 o'clock and try to turn on to X, it's impossible because it's very hard to see and it's very busy. So for me, I know it's easier to go up to Barbican and use the traffic lights because then I can get out easily. So as a resident close to an area like that, I know my alternatives that make it easier and safer for me to get out. I mean, I think certainly people may defer to go to Mesker and use a more controlled intersection where they think they're safer. I think the other thing we do have to consider is we want to make sure that Fuller remains a safe road. I mean, it's a pretty narrow road. And as traffic increases, you know, how much is going through there, and maybe it's better for traffic to seek an alternative road. I don't know. And again, we're not forcing them to go to an alternative road, but
Yeah, I mean, for traffic turning right onto Fuller there and heading north, there really is nothing that's gonna impede them or currently doesn't. It's really just that left turn onto Schofield Ave, so
When's Fuller scheduled to be,
2025, so in
25?
2 years.
That's the other thing too, I mean, if we put that roundabout in and connect it to Old Costa, a year from then, we're putting in a new road. Well, we missed that for next year, so it could be done probably the same year as 25 as we redid the road.
Or you just stop the redo of Fuller Street at, you know, I mean, it can all kind of be designed as one and
I'm just thinking
the
like, I mean,
construction.
that road is redone, because a lot of people live back there and use that to cut up to Ross. And the roundabout is there and the traffic flows a little better. I mean, then we could see an increase quite a bit going through there too.
that roundabout projected costs include the possible cost of acquiring the land from the bar to make that road go through there.
I don't think it included the land cost, but it did include the street. I mean, as far as that land, I mean, we could look at probably a land swap even.
Yeah, with the arrow probably swapping, well, is that arrows on the east side of that? tree
Correct,
line?
yeah, arrows on,
So if we gave them back the road, that basically would be ripping up.
yeah, so I mean,
I mean, they'd have a much bigger parking lot if they used that area, I guess, first time. They wanted that.
He's not.
It's a cost, but
He's
I
got
don't know.
parking.
I just don't like that intersection. the way
He
it
has
is.
parking, he got plenty of room. And you get back.
Yeah, yeah, well, they're doing more and more of those outside activities and everything, it's getting more and more popular over there. They've been doing more of them, anyway, it feels like they're doing more of them this last year than they have.
And eventually then if you don't do the roundabout, do you put a traffic signal
you could in the
there
future,
to allow for a left turn?
that would be a possibility in the future too, yeah.
Cause I agree with you on a right turn, it's not a problem, but left turn, it's, yeah, especially now you're always doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and that's why they did recommend realigning it so that you know, you're not trying to look backwards behind you.
Well, you got some folks coming down that road from the east too, going pretty quick.
Yeah.
And the traffic light over in Mesker is gonna be great for the eastbound traffic, it's not gonna change anything on the westbound though.
No.
And that's where a lot of it's kind of coming from, that's the issue.
It depends what time, what
Yeah.
time of day, are people going to the elementary school, the
back from it,
school, or are they
but-
coming back? Are they going to work in the business park? Or are they?
Yeah, you got a lot of county trucks and stuff that are coming through there and people coming the day over.
Because the more development you get off
See, you
of,
got a morning
off of
problem,
Ross, it's gonna feed Fuller eventually, right, to the school.
you got a morning problem when people go to school. You got 3 o'clock when the school is out. Then in summertime or even before school is out, there's a soccer game in there.
All I do.
That's,
It's starting to be a pretty busy area.
it is, and it's gonna get busier.
Yeah.
I just think if there's a chance that it has to get redesigned or upgrades in 10 to 15 years, you gotta do it right away.
I mean, I kinda like the roundabout.
That was my own analysis.
but
in
I-
there.
But that's the thing, I mean, it is,
That's what we do with all intersections, right? Is, like this one out here, that went in 2000, I think, and in that one, it said in 20 years, take another look at it.
right.
20 years later, we go, yeah, okay,
Do it.
I don't wanna, yeah,
We spend the money 2 times.
yeah. So I guess this table kind of shows the projected 2044. So this one's,
I get the traffic, but I feel like there's plenty of people who think it's a problem now.
yeah,
And that's my thing with it is, I mean, the traffic pattern may not be,
yeah, so here they calculate the average delay was about 34 seconds during the PM rush. And it was 24 seconds during the AM rush.
I'd like to actually see how they calculated that. I'm kind of
They
curious
calculated
because I
it
mean,
now.
there's times where you kind of thread the needle. You're just kind of hoping you just got it. Go for it.
No, you go sit there with your truck and the trailer
Yeah.
behind it,
Yeah, that's the other thing.
then see how much delay you have.
If you're carrying a load and you're not off fast, like, I mean, if you're in a car, it's one thing, but if you're in a truck with a load and you gotta make it out there, like.
Let me ask you one other question that to me factors into this. So, and I don't know if you have any of these answers. We're gonna put in some kind of a walking path or something along that Fuller, correct?
Correct, yeah.
That's the plan. We don't know which side of the road it's gonna be on at this point.
Yeah, we don't have
Is
it.
it more attractive? I mean, what is there on Old Costa or what's the plan there? Is there gonna be any walking path eventually put in there? Is there would it be a benefit to the community to tie it together? So that you've got a singular pathway, and I mean, because you're gonna end up right now, if you go the other direction, you're gonna have. Anybody that's gonna use that walking path is gonna get to the end of there. And I guess you could go right down towards the schools. Or,
Yeah,
sorry, left down the school, depending which way you're coming.
yeah, I mean, there is sidewalk on Schofield Ave the whole way. Old Costa. There's talk about Denyon putting in more of a development on the far south end of that. Which, if that happens, we'd probably look at upgrading Old Costa to provide a better pedestrian movement out to Schofield Ave,
One
so.
of my thoughts was like, then if you're gonna have let's just say you pick the east side on Fuller and the west side on Costa, and then, but they're not.
Yeah,
Right, I mean, are we planning, I don't know if we thought far ahead enough. Again, how that would tie in or if it makes sense, maybe it doesn't, I don't know.
Well, still you have Amazon gonna get open too.
Oh.
That's gonna
That's a
put
good
some
point.
traffic in there.
Hopefully they'd stay on off of 29 and whatnot,
Yeah, but still they got employee
but
coming.
yeah.
It's gonna come.
Schofield's gonna get just, that road's just gonna get busier and busier. I mean, that whole road, I
I'm
don't
just here to give you the options.
I really feel like we gotta put one or two ahead and maybe let the board take a look at it. My thought is to, I mean, I don't know what your talks with Arrow have been like, but I mean, my thought would be go toward the roundabout rather sooner than later. Especially if we're planning on redoing Fuller in 25. I mean, this is something we'd have to get ahead of already.
Well, and that's why it was part of this
Yeah.
whole design
No, I
was,
know.
if we wanna do it and maybe the intersection itself has to wait until 26, but we can get the majority of Fuller done up to that point. And then finish it up in 26. I mean, we can phase it and have it in the queue or even push Fuller back a year. I mean, I applied for some,
Pretty bad.
yeah, I applied for some grants or local road improvement funding. We'll see what we get this spring. And based on that too, I mean, that might be some funding that'll offset what we were projecting and make it more palatable too to do it right away, so.
That's TIF district, right?
It is not,
It's not.
no. Yeah, it's a out of TIF project.
Because essentially if we phased the project and ended it at the trail, the only impacts to residences would be the one house in the bar, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, so.
And again, I just like to throw out there, I think if we're gonna, I hope we don't make decisions on walking paths independently on each side.
No, yeah, and which usually it's
So we
whichever one
time
gets
the
built
other.
first, then you match it up, you know.
Match it, and which makes sense on. Because if you did go to the cul-de-sac, then which side would you put? the Path on,
Right now it's showing it, you got a crossing on Schofield Avenue on the,
That'd be an enhancement to just kind of help with pedestrian crossing by putting a raised median in here so they didn't have to try to play frog or cross 4 lanes of
well,
traffic.
you gotta connect that sidewalk or
Yep.
path on from Fuller. When you come to Schofield, where it's gonna be connected?
Yeah, so in this scenario, and the discussion I've had with Becker Hoppy initially was the east side, that's where the dog park, Kellyland Park is. The Eau Claire River Trail, access points are on the east side of Fuller Street there, so I guess if somebody were to kind of want to do a loop along there, that'd be what would make sense, on the Mountain Bay Trail too, so. Keeping it on the east side there, then kind of around Rogan, possibly splitting it back to a sidewalk on both sides. Kind of through the neighborhood where you have houses then again on both sides of the road versus just.
so you look for the east side of Old Costa then too.
So then it'd probably be on the east side of Old Costa.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. But then that also gives, and again, I don't know how much, that's hard to guess in the future. So how many people want to take their dog for a walk down Fuller to the dog park or trying to get back to where, some of the other access points are and if you don't put that roundabout in, it's really gonna be disjointed, right? I mean, how would you?
I mean, you'd still be able to, like I said, if somebody that lives on Old Costa and they want to walk down, they go to Schofield Ave, they head east, they get to Fuller, they go north and then head up, so
You have the designs for Fuller Street? Have we started yet?
that's what we're working on right now. So,
It's gonna bring preliminary to us.
yeah, and I guess, so this was part of the, in the early steps in the process was figuring out what do we want to do at Schofield Ave so that we don't end up designing this, 2-3 different times. We're looking at,
We're planning on putting the sidewalk on Fuller.
yeah, so it is classified,
Around or anything.
yeah, so Fuller is classified as a minor arterial, so anything that's classified generally collector and above, we put some kind of pedestrian accommodation on, because the traffic counts are at a point where
Yeah.
you don't want to be have pedestrians conflicting with cars, so yeah, the southern portion or third, I'd say, of Fuller Street is a little more industrial with waste management, and so we'd go with a multi-use path through there. And then when you hit the residential neighborhood at Rogan heading north towards Ross, the initial thought is making that a sidewalk, going to a sidewalk on both sides of the road.
Is waste management gonna stay there?
As far as I know, yes.
Cause they shut down the contractors, unless we have an account with them. I was just curious what.
I mean, if it's not them, it's always been a garbage company for the past, 40 years, so.
Or rather to see not to be there?
And if they're
That's
not
a
there,
good place for them.
yeah,
You smell that area, it stink when you're in the Mountain Bay Trail, and they should be out of a town, at the edge of the town, not right in the middle of residential area.
Well, years ago they were.
They will break my heart.
40 years ago.
I don't know. how
What's your
everybody else-
wishes? You gotta make a decision here, what I want to do. I prefer the roundabout and also this minor correction to the intersection I'm not sure how much it's gonna solve the problem. Because I know they sit down there with their pickup truck or something like that. I think they should try with the trailer to get across that area with the traffic coming from each direction. See how long you're sitting there.
Yeah, I mean, that was the,
And how many school buses go down Fuller and then make that left turn? Because that to me is another big,
Few.
just from a public safety standpoint, right? I mean, you don't want I mean, the more I don't know what that answer is, but I would imagine it's gotta be quite a bit.
It's seems to be anyway when I'm on it in the morning.
yeah, I mean, the crash data here, I think it was like 5 crashes over the last 5 years at the intersection. It wasn't a lot.
One is too many, Michael.
Yeah, I know, but as you look at, the priority of, unfortunately, it's how a lot of stuff works, right? You wait until there's a problem
Until
and
the
then
bus
you,
gets hit and then
Right.
everybody says,
Yeah.
why,
Well, it's like a DOT. They don't do anything at the intersection unless somebody gets killed.
it kills.
yeah.
I
don't think anybody really that lives in that area, uses that road or uses it frequently knows it's an issue.
Oh, it absolutely is.
I mean, yeah.
I'm saying if you're redoing the whole road, we gotta address that intersection while we're doing it. And I mean,
When Waste Management was taking contractors out there, I mean, I was in and out of there a couple times a week, and if I was carrying trailers.
Yeah.
I mean, my vote's on the roundabout personally.
I think I would too. I think in 15 years, I think for the next 10 years, I think the right answer is no cul-de-sac, but I think after that, I don't know. I think it probably is the roundabout.
I don't wanna wait 15 years and spend $4 million. I'd rather spend now 2 million and get over with it. And solve the problem.
I think a lot of people in that live down that road too, or up off east off of Ross or whatever, I think that's just gonna improve their travel going through there as well. I mean, that whole area back there is just, I mean, there's a ton of people that live back there.
I'll make a motion that we,
Like the alternative 5 if you're looking for the roundabout.
alternative.
Well, here's the language for alternative 2, but
I move to recommend the village board approve moving forward with alternative 5 for the Fuller Street Schofield Ave intersection.
I'll second.
Any more discussion?
I'd just narrate that to clarify that that's the roundabout and realignment of Fuller with Old Costa Lane.
With that language.
Would you add that one to it, please? The
Tracy?
comment Michael made.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Thank you.
Good. Thanks. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you. Item 10, business 51 / estate 25B29, the stormwater pond grant submittal. Michael?
So this is I guess a contract with Strand Associates for them to put together the DNR grant for constructing the storm pond at kind of the on-ramp of Highway 29 at Business 51. Also, so this would be for the I don't know, the UNPS Urban Non-Point Source and Stormwater Construction Grant. This pond was noted as the #1 project to help the village reduce our total phosphorus loadings. We currently have a 60-inch pipe that goes from Hughes Avenue under Volkman Street and then pretty much straight to the Wisconsin River with a few connections from the village of Rothschild and city of Schofield at Business 51. So
Where is discharging to the river?
where does it discharge to the river? Right by the aquatic center they have there. I can show you a picture.
Is engineering certain survey services to help with the grant application process?
It would be, so it'd prepare all the data that you need to
I got you.
provide it, then, if you can see my mouse right
Is
here.
this a bid that went out or how did they get
It's right by
8,800?
the overheads.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan.
Nine crosses.
So, so this was just a kind of a negotiated contract with Strand. They did the stormwater master plan work with, so they've, I guess in reality, they have a lot of the data and information already that we would need. So if we hired somebody
Have to
else,
start over with
they'd
it.
probably have to grab a lot of that.
Yeah, because we've been working with them to get a lot of this
Correct.
already. That makes sense.
And then, so this would just be for the urban non-point source grant. Meeting with, I have a preliminary meeting scheduled with Strand later this week also to look at Clean Water Fund. A flood mitigation, a FEMA, and there's one other program, so overall, probably looking at submitting 3+ grant applications to get this pond funded from other sources besides just their own. So this work would be something we'd be able to use for those other applications as well.
Okay, so just for clarification, the cost proposal 8,800 with the potential to then get 1,500, so.
150,000,
Right, so
Yeah.
we're spending 8,800, possibly get 150
correct.
in grants.
Yep.
Okay.
Do they
Plus
pay
more.
for that 8,800 too?
They don't, so
They
the,
don't pay for engineering costs?
no, this one would be strictly for construction. But there are other grants, like I said, through the Clean Water Fund and
It would be able
some
to pay.
FEMA grants that would be engineering services could be eligible for,
So
so,
we'd be able to possibly recoup it on top of that.
correct.
Otherwise, what it comes out of the cap.
Yep.
Anything else?
That's.
What's your wishes?
Just on it.
I'll move to recommend village board approve the contract with Strand Associates for 8,800 to submit a grant application to the DNR for the South 29 storm pond to be built within Weston right away.
Is there a second?
Good.
Other discussion? Other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you.
Good job, Michael.
Item 11, Cedar Creek Intercepted Access Road Update. Michael?
Yep, nice. Trustee Zagami had asked for this to be put on. But, so, started back in 2018, we did village-wide televising of our interceptor sewers. At that time, the contractor DIS had to utilize some off-road vehicles so that they could get their this portion of the Cedar Creek sewer televised from Sand Hill Drive to Madeline Court. This area is just west of Alderson Street, kind of in the, so Alderson Street's just off the screen to the east here. Wassa Tile would be probably a couple miles to the west. Shorey Avenue, top of the screen. So this is in the village of Rothschild. In a kind of a low-lying wetland area that we just really don't have access to. It's one of those things that we've been trying to figure out how can we get our truck back there so we can make sure that we are adequately cleaning this sewer. Probably about half of the village's wastewater flows through this area. So if there were to be an issue there, someday we need to get there quickly. There's an inverted siphon underneath the Cedar Creek crossing there. So there is some intricate infrastructure for the wastewater system. We began working on getting the access road and easements drawn up in 2019, 2020. I guess COVID hit, that's not a great excuse, but it did. And it kind of delayed a few things. And then as we start getting back out there, we noticed some discrepancies with where the existing pipe was and where the easement said it should be. And then also start running into some property owner, what do I want to call it?
Somebody bought it?
Disgruntlement and yeah, change of ownership for one of the major landowners there. So I guess we had then start working with Becker or asking Becker Hoppy for some assistance with the real estate transactions and getting the access and easements and helping it through the DNR wetland alternative analysis. processed, taken care of, and they ended up deferring that, saying that they didn't think they were the right person for the job. So now I've been in talks with Catherine Vensky with MSA, who's doing our right-of-way work for the Weston Avenue projects. So I guess I hope that this will be something they can assist us with and get it back in the queue here over winter and get this project going again, because it is something that we should have in place for cleaning access.
Do we have a budget or TNM?
Right now it'd be TNM. I'm waiting for a proposal from them.
I'll get the
There-
proposal.
yes.
please, Yes.
They're reviewing I gave them the documents that we have to this point, so that they can provide us a scope of services.
Okay. Any question for Michael? Item 12, street light request.
We need to move on that.
That's really an update, I guess. I don't,
Okay.
yeah, when I get a proposal, I'll bring it back to you guys.
There was an action on there, so I just want to make sure we weren't.
Was there? Well, I just said I moved to recommend. All right, streetlight requests, it seems like every year when winter sets in, people start noticing dark spots around town. So over the last couple weeks, these were some areas I received calls about, or getting new lights put in. One that stands out to me that I myself was surprised we didn't have a light at was County Road J and Weston Avenue. So I was kind of looking at the new road and out there at night. First I thought maybe the light was just disconnected from the intersection when it was redone, but turns out we don't actually have any lights at J and Weston Avenue. So I would recommend we at least get a light installed out there. The other two, kind of by the Dollar General on J and Quick Trip on Schofield Ave over between Ryan and Zinzer. Maybe the one by Quick Trip, there's a snowmobile crossing there. Might be helpful for just visibility of those, especially come winter time if we have snow when people are crossing there.
I've seen people walk across that spot too.
Sure.
The Dollar General, I was out by there, and I mean, there's that one light is real close, and I mean, if they wanna put a light in to illuminate their driveway, they can do that.
Yeah. And that one actually doesn't meet the criteria in our streetlight policy either.
Right.
The other, West Ave and J definitely does, and the Schofield Ave one, it's far enough away from the nearest streetlight that it would fit the criteria for putting a light there.
And there again, I just comment, it makes sense to me on the third one, because I just thought, how many nighttime activities do you have with all the soccer fields and the practices and that's again, I always look at that as a public safety one right now. That's very close to the schools.
I would make a motion to recommend the village board approve the installation of a street light at options number 1 and number 3, leaving out number 2.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I have it. Thank you.
Michael, First Street, did you put that on in yet, or was that? Or were we talking about putting a street light in Birch Street
Birch and Foxtail Court, that was
a little while ago?
a while ago.
I thought I remember you talking about
Southwest of the trailer park there.
Yeah,
that. Is that up?
I would have to go by and look. I know we sent in the paperwork in May, and although I think unfortunately this spring a light was installed that we had requested from WPS almost 2 years ago. So
All right. Future item, next meeting date, Monday, January 8, 2024 at 4:30 PM. That's a regular meeting. Item B, Monday, February 12, 2024 at 4:30 PM, regular meeting. Item 14, topic for future meeting. Is none.
I have something I just,
Go ahead.
so and I don't know if you guys discussed it at all, but I was here for that public information meeting about Weston Avenue for the west phase. And there was two conversations I know that got brought up. One was about the turn signal possibility for Weston Ave for southbound traffic trying to turn east onto Weston Avenue because it gets really tight in there. I happened to drive through there today and I sat at the light and it was turning red. I was the number one vehicle trying to turn left and it turned red before I could turn left. So I don't know what the timing is there, but then the other part I think was there was a conversation about, do we block commercial vehicles, semis, trucks from going east on that stretch of Weston Ave because the residents kind of don't like that. And I told one of the residents that I'd be happy to discuss that. I don't know if that's something that we want to just discuss as a committee. I just looked like if I was coming from Eau Claire and had to go into our industrial park, what route Google would take me, and it takes me that way to go down Weston Avenue. So I know that would be hard to overcome because much like East Jelinek, you can have a sign that says no trucks and trucks are still gonna go through there, so. I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are on wanting to discuss that or thinking about that, but I know that or at least a handful of residents spoke up about their concerns about trucks on that road.
What if you let Michael study that and take a look at it and come back to us with the report? Sure. Done, Michael?
Yeah, I wanna say the village or maybe almost a year ago did talk about truck traffic on Weston Avenue because it came up at a prior public information meeting as well, so. I can look at that and kind of review it and bring it back.
Outside of farmers, I don't know of anybody that would really need a large truck in that stretch.
Yeah.
But
I think. I'll go over back what was discussed and bring that back next meeting.
Okay.
But a quick question on that X and Weston Ave, you were on Weston Ave trying to?
no, I was on X going south and went to turn
Left on.
east onto Weston Avenue. And I couldn't make it through on the
Okay.
light section that I was
So
sitting.
that's the timing of the light, I think.
Yeah.
DOT monitor that or?
No, that's us, so I can ask Scott to take a look at that.
Yeah. Thank you.
And it was in the afternoon, so it was busy.
Sure.
And then on X at Schofield Ave, in the morning, it seems like there can be the only car sitting at that intersection and the lights don't change. Do you know, are there sensors there at all?
Yeah, but if you know what lane that car is in, sometimes a loop goes bad, so I can have.
I notice it every morning because I go to work at 4 AM and I'll be the only car at that intersection sitting for a minute, like
I have the same problem.
at
I'm
X.
hogging my horn.
And Phillips going north at Schofield Ave. So I'm in, I guess
Yeah.
anytime I'm in either.
Those lights are really long.
Yeah, they are,
Really
they
long.
they are, they
Yep.
are. I was sitting there a couple times and I ended up just backing up and going to the gas station. I
Yep.
couldn't back
So
over.
I'll sit there easily for a minute as the only car.
I just turn right
Yeah.
to the gas station and turn left.
Yeah.
And then
No, I've backed up and just went right through the gas station before. I've been sitting there a while. I'm like, I'm not sitting there any longer.
they're just long timing on there.
Yeah, they did. Which I get, it's Schofield Ave's busy, you know, but.
Not at four though.
Is
That's all I
Scott,
got.
Scott can take it, thank you.
I can have them look at it, we might need, I think we have Tapco come and maintain our lights for us,
Sure.
so. But if there's something initially wrong with a loop, he'll notice that.
Yeah. Okay. Item 15, remark from administrator.
I don't have anything this evening, thank you.
Item 16, remark from staff. Josh?
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
2 weeks from today. I don't know where I don't know where the whole year went.
Remark from the committee member.
I'd just like to briefly just say thank you to the village staff for the pickup, the fall pickup. I realized that was a pretty challenging fall season for them, and there were no shortage of complaints. So And I'm just saying in terms of not understanding equipment breakdowns and what impact that had, so thank you to the village staff.
Pass it on to him, I think.
Just one. I do have one. Still the light at the Birch Street in Schofield and Alderson and Schofield. They're not on at night.
No, I had asked Roman was supposed to be getting a proposal from Van Nert to do that work. And I'm not, I had asked him last month,
Why
Alan.
don't you give it to somebody? That is not a huge project. It's not even a couple $1,000 maybe.
Correct, yes. And that's what we need to instruct somebody to just go do it.
Would you please?
Yes.
Because I can put the step ladder, go up there and check it.
We gotta change the fuses and
And I
stuff. to go
donate my
from-
time. You don't have to pay me. That's all.
Yeah, there's a little more to it to go from the incandescent to, or the sodium halide to the
Yeah.
LEDs.
Those are all available.
We have all the lights. The lights are in our ownership. We have those. It's just getting somebody to go install
Please?
Yep.
All right.
Which one is it?
That's the Schofield and Alderson. At Four Corner Road, you have those fixture lights. Same thing at Birch Street. And Schofield. You know, at least for a year, maybe more than a year. Testing, but anyhow.
Probably throw that in.
The other thing is, wish you all Merry Christmas and Happy New Year too.
Same to you.
The year is past and it come and go so fast, it's unreal. I don't have any announcement and I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second,
1 second.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, I have it. Thank you very much for coming to the meeting.